Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about Simulacrum, which to me is one of the hardest content into the game. I will explain the mechanic of the Simulacrum and I will give you some general advice how you can perform better into the Simulacrum as a general class, but also very specifically for the Spark Stormweather build, which is the one that I play, and I spend a lot of time to try to optimize it to be able to clean this content. First, to enter the Simulacrum, you need to gather 300 splinters that you are going to combine into one Simulacrum, and you place it into the map near your entrance, and you have the portal that are opening up to the Simulacrum trial. Simulacrum is used to unlock the delirium atlas skill tree on the side that are going to boost all the activity that you are doing with delirium. Every time that you complete the Simulacrum, you are going to get rewarded by 2 points in this atlas tree, and you need to have those 2 points that are in the tree to complete the next one and get 2 other points. Every time that you are placing points into the Atlas Simulacrum or Delirium tree, it's going to increase the difficulty of the Simulacrum by increasing the level of all the monsters by 1 every time you put 2 points. To the contrary of the rest of the content for Pinnacle bosses, when you are going to get teleported inside the Simulacrum, you will not face a unique boss, but instead you are going to face a series of trials of 15 waves that are going to go in increasing difficulty, and at the end, if you complete the 15th wave, you will get the book that will grant you the Atlas skill point, and you will also get the reward of the completion of the trial, which are through the uniques. At the end of each wave, you are going to get some emotions from Delirium that can be quite good because you can drop very nice emotion here that can be sold for a high amount of orb if you are lucky. To start a wave, what you are going to do is you are going to talk to these familiar faces, and you will see what are the affixes that are going to be applied to the next wave, and on top of that you will see what is the percentage of delirious that your character is going to be. The more delirious you are and the more monsters are going to come, and also the higher the chance that unique monsters are going to spawn. As you are going to increase through the trials, the difficulty is going to increase significantly by both having things that are harder and harder, and also because you are more delirious, you are going to have more monsters spawning, more rare monsters spawning, and more bosses spawning. What is very difficult in this trial is that you can be submerged extremely quickly if your damage are not insane, and to survive the trial you will need either to have extremely high survivability and insane damage, or extremely high damage and insane survivability. Anything that is below that is probably going to get you killed. Now there is some advice that I can give you to help you go through this trial. In this trial you are going to face 2 different bosses, one that is going to have a lot of ice attack and one that is going to have a lot of area of effect and massive damage. One is controlling you and the other one is destroying your face basically. Those 2 monsters are the one that you are facing into the maps when you are delirious and you are instilling them with emotion. Omniphobia, Fear Manifest, and Causes the Revelations. Omniphobia is the one that is going to have the big axe and is going to slam the ground with area of effect, dealing massive damage and stunning you. And Causes is the one that is going to froze you if you are staying in the wrong place. When they spawn, the goal is to defeat them as quickly as possible, otherwise you are going to get submerged by the rest of the monster that keeps spawning at the same time as you're facing those 2 monsters. I would recommend that you start with Causes, especially if you're not immune to cold and freezing. If you are immune to cold and freezing, then you can start with the other one that is doing damage, as Causes is not doing as much damage as his friend. Starting around the wave 10-11, they are going to spawn together, making them even more deadly because you will get comboed very quickly with them and with the rare monster that keep spawning at the same time of the boss. Since you're still in the video, please consider subscribe to my channel. As you see, it's a very young channel and I'm aiming for 1000 sub before few months. So if it did help you, please subscribe, and it's going to help me providing you some content like this. Thank you very much, and I keep going with the video. Once again, those boss are being buffed by the affix that you are going to get randomly, and they are going to go in increasing difficulty as you are progressing through the waves. Certain of the area that you are going to fight the monster are extremely narrow, making the monster almost spawn in melee range. So if you are relying on keeping your distance to any monster, this is not going to work in the Simulacrum because they are going to spawn all around you at melee range. So this is another difficulty that you are going to face in the Simulacrum. You cannot keep your distance from the monster, they are always spawning on you. So I'm going to give you general advice on what I believe is very strong and efficient in the Simulacrum to increase your survivability. And then after, I'm going to give specific advice for the build of Stormweather Spark that I'm playing and what made me pass the Simulacrum that I have passed right now, because I've cleaned it 3 times and I will work on the 4th very soon. So the first thing that you want is to be able to take any hit that is below 6 or 7,000, whether it's going to be through absorbing through the armor or through mana, shield, health. The boss with the axe is dealing around 6 to 7,000. So you need to have this capacity of absorbing 6,000 and not getting one shot to this attack. The second thing that you want is you want to cap your resistances. So the resistances is extremely important in the end game. You are going to face things such as monster are dealing added damage as extra fire, extra lightning. This is all the affix that you see into the maps. You are going to have them in the Simulacrum. So not being capped, you are going to take massive damage from those affix. So you want to be capped in resistances. The third thing that I recommend is being immune to freeze or having a freeze charm is also working. This is when the Kiosis is appearing, is going to freeze a large part of the arena if you don't manage to kill him very quickly. So having some resistances to freeze is going to help you in that situation. The second one is having some resistances to being stunned. It can be through the node that are increasing the stun threshold as a maximum energy shield. It can be through the charm if you have something else for the freeze. So this is also something that is going to help you tremendously. Keeping general advice, I do recommend that you go for the Ingenuity belt. That is usually providing amount of bonus from a ring, and this is true for every classes. So having this kind of unique item that is very expensive but will benefit any kind of class by adding extra value to your ring. So if you have the capability of farming this, I strongly recommend that you do before you attend this kind of content. Last but not least, pump your damage and pump your resistances, whatever is the easiest for you. I pump my damage, I'm doing a lot of damage for my build, and still I can feel that sometime I will need a little bit more. So pump your damage, pump your resistances, this is going to help you anyway. The next point is obviously to increase your general level. I believe that if it's your first character, attempting the Simulacrum before the level 90 is probably premature. Talking about skill, I think you really need to pay attention to those unique jewels and what they can do for your character by following a build. The control metamorphosis allow you to add some point without connecting them. So that can help you significantly to reduce the number of points that you need to have key points, and will increase significantly the damage that you do. Another one could be against the darkness, that is adding an extra value to the small node and the notable node that you have in a certain range. And last but not least, the megalomaniac diamond, which is extremely strong. And by the way, it's dropping from Simulacrum if you have already 4 points of Atlas difficulty that are allocated. That is going to allocate whatever it is to up to 3 notable points. So you see here I have conservative casting from the megalomaniac, and I have fraud seeker from the megalomaniac, and you can have up to 3. So this is insane. So you can even have like things that are on the bottom and you are playing on the top. Overall, if all what I'm saying it's something that you're not even aware, maybe the tips that I'm giving right now are a bit too advanced, and I would recommend that you look for tips that are a little bit less advanced, such as the one that I'm explaining in the video that I'm linking: how to attune your amulet, the quality of your items, the quality of your ring, etc, etc. Those tips will cost you much less than the one that I'm proposing here, because the one that I'm proposing here, you are talking about something that can go from 10 divine to 100 divine. So before doing so, let's start with something that is a bit more basic and will give you a good bump in power before going for those extra percentage that are only good if you have done everything before. Now moving on to the Spark build. So this part is going to be extremely specific for the Stormweather Spark. So if you're not Stormweather Spark, I don't think it's going to be of a lot of interest for you. For the other people that stays, this is how I managed to go from failing all the time to clearing this content. And what I did is that I bumped my damage significantly. The first thing that I did is you buy ingenuity. Ingenuity is probably like the first step, as I'm explaining before. It's going to increase significantly the bonus of your ring. And it's going to help you getting to the level that you want to be. The second thing that I recommend is getting a very strong wand. And by a strong wand, I'm talking about something that is +5 to all level of lightning skill. This is very important. You probably want some cast speed, some mana, spell damage, and gain blah 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 of damage as extra. Lightning, cold, this is nice. Lightning is probably the best because I think that it gets the bonus from the rest of the lightning, but cold is completely decent as well, and you can't have everything. Then my recommendation is probably to also have a very good focus. You're looking for spell damage, lightning damage, you're looking for critical hit chance. I do play with critical hit on my mage. I believe that it's insane on Spark, so I really like critical hit. You need to cap with resistances. This is important. You cap with resistances. And then when you are ready, you can go for the Dream Fragment. Dream Fragment is probably the most expensive piece of my gear right now. This one I took the max increase maximum mana roll, 24%, high increase mana regeneration, and the 24% increased damage from the corruption. So this piece cost me half of the money of the orbs that I spend into my gear. You can have it for lower, but anything that you are looking for this is probably around 80 divine. So this is probably like the most expensive piece that you are going to get. If you get it, you are going to have an immense bump into mana, and it will allow you to remove the everlasting amulet, so the one that I was using before and then I'm not using anymore, this one, because you will not need as much energy shield because you will tank with your mana and mind over matter. And on the amulet, what you are going to look for is level all spell skills. This is important. Maximum mana and percentage increase maximum mana. This is the things that you want. What I really like is damage taken are recouped as mana, because that means that you are a little bit more tanky. If you get some hit, then the mana is going to regen much quicker. So that's another thing that I like, but this is like cherry on the cake. What you want is the level to all spell skill, you want the mana regen, and you want the maximum mana through percentage and through normal maximum mana flat. Because you are immune to freeze through the ring, you can use a stone charm. So that means that now you cannot be stunned through the stone charm, and probably having more charges or getting more charge over time is probably good. I haven't like tried to theory craft on charm, I just placed the first one I had. So you get immune from freeze and you get immune from stun, and from this you will be able to tank much more in the event. In terms of damage, what you want to be able to do, and this is extremely important, is you want to be able to do your cast and not losing any mana. If you start losing mana, then you don't have enough mana regen, or you're casting too quickly. So you need to adapt for that. This is extremely important, because what you don't want is that you are spamming and then your mana, aka your life, because you don't have any shield, is going down. Because this means that any hit are going to potentially one-shot you if you are mid-mana. So you really want to be able to cast. And I'm moving because I have the node that is increasing my mana regen when I move, and I'm placing this because I have font of mana every time I place it, which is also increasing my mana regen. So I place this and I cast. Now what you can do also is you place a curse on the ground, and what I do with conductivity is that I'm using on conductivity the expense, and I'm using the curse ground, so it stays on the ground. That's something that is nice. So I can place the Orb of Storm through my conductivity, and if I have a mob or a boss that is jumping at me, it's going to be cursed, which I think is helping a lot. So you place the Orb of Storm, you spam, and then you place your curse. Generally, when you are facing the Simulacrum, the monsters, the bosses, they are not spawning at the beginning of a wave. They are usually spawning towards the 2/3 of a wave, so towards the end of a wave. So if you don't have your curse on the ground at the beginning, it's not a big deal. But as you get through the rhythm of the wave, you know when you need to refresh the curse, and you know when you need to refresh the Orb of Storm. Refreshing the curse is going to cost you some mana. Same for the Orb of Storm. So you need to be careful that you're not starting when they spawn with, I don't know, like 10-20% of mana less because you refreshed those buffs. Now on the pieces, that's small pieces, so the glove, the head, and the boots, what I recommend is you get double socket, and on both sockets you put the maximum mana on percentage. You want to have the critical damage bonus. You want to have a high mana roll on all of them. I like to keep some movement speed because this is the gear that I'm using also to farm. And here I want to have a little bit of rarity because, again, it's the build that I'm using to farm, so I don't want to change. My chest is the only piece that I haven't changed recently. I probably can get something better than this, but what I'm looking for is the increased mana regeneration rate. This is extremely important. And then you want to go as high in energy shield as you can. Like if you're looking at my mana, if I have 6,924, if I remove it, I go to 5,000. So just this is providing me something like 2,000 of mana. So you want to be as high as possible in energy shield because with Eldritch Battery is going to convert into mana. So this is the goal for the chest. On my ring, the second ring that I have, I'm looking at something that has high mana, that has high mana regeneration, and potentially elemental resistances, so I can get capped in a much more easier way, because Ingenuity is going to boost this ring as well. I think that's it overall. My switch, I'm using this mainly for Sigil of Power, and I'm using it as well to have like a better curse. In Simulacrum, I'm not using it because what I've seen is that sometimes if I switch, I get chain bump and I cannot go back to my main DPS. As you see, the difference between one set or another is quite massive in terms of damage. So I don't want to be stuck into one status and not being able to do the damage that I need to keep the monster killed as they spawn. There is a lot of things that I tried, such as having stun threshold through my shield with certain passive skill points. So I was trying to play shield and play points such as this one, more stun recovery, more energy shield as stun threshold. I also try to use the gloves that are building the electrocute. The problem with this is that you are nerfing your damage enough that it's not good. What I mean by that is that electrocution, you need the time to build this up, and there's no point of building electrocution if you kill the monster. So the best control into the game is one-shotting the monster, is not to try to electrocute them. So instead of trying to electrocute them, it's better to just try to kill them and survive. It's helping more than trying to keep them controlled. That's all I had for you guys. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you had some difficulty with the Simulacrum, don't hesitate to let me know down below. Maybe I can be able to help you. Thanks for watching again, and see you on the next video.